Blood dripped from Weston's knuckles onto the marble floor of the penthouse. His friends were laughing, roaring, slapping tables like hyenas around a fresh kill. I stood 15 feet away, holding a tray of cocktails nobody asked for, watching my husband's eyes roll back as he snorted another line off the glass coffee table. "Babe," he slurred, waving me off without looking. "Go upstairs. We're talking business." Business. That's what he called it now. I didn't move. He finally looked at me. And for just a second, one tiny, fragile second, I saw the man I married. The one who used to hold doors. Who used to say my name like a prayer. Then it vanished. I said go. But here's the thing nobody tells you about love. Sometimes it doesn't die. Sometimes it just watches. Quietly. As the person you gave everything to burns themselves alive. And you hold the extinguisher. But they won't let you use it. Hey, if you've ever loved someone who refused to be saved, hit that like button right now. And stick around, because what happens next will shatter you. 3 years ago, Weston Hale was untouchable. Not just rich. Not just handsome. Untouchable. He owned half of Newport Beach's luxury real estate market by 28. Drove a custom Aston Martin. Wore watches that cost more than most people's houses. And me. I was Briar Lennox. A 24-year-old event planner from a middle-class family in Pasadena. I met him at a charity gala I coordinated. He bid $30,000 on a dinner date with me during the auction. I thought it was a joke. He showed up the next night with roses and reservations at Nobu. We were married 6 months later. People said I was lucky. I believed them. The first year was a dream. Weston took me to Aspen. To Monaco. To private islands I didn't know existed. He'd wake me up at midnight just to drive down the Pacific Coast Highway with the top down, blasting old jazz, laughing like we'd stolen the moon. "You make me want to be better," he told me once, tangled in hotel sheets in Santorini. Like I finally have something worth protecting. I kissed him. I believed him. Then came the friends. Dax Monroe. 31. Hedge fund manager. Cocaine enthusiast. Kellen Thorne. 29. Owned 3 nightclubs in LA, rumored ties to organized crime. And Jet Carver. 27. A trust fund kid who'd never worked a day in his life but somehow always had the most money to burn. They slithered into our lives like smoke under a door. At first, it was just poker nights. Boys being boys. I didn't mind. But poker nights turned into yacht weekends. Yacht weekends turned into Vegas trips. Vegas trips turned into Weston stumbling home at 4 a.m., eyes glassy, smelling like perfume I didn't wear. "Just business, Bree," he'd say. "You wouldn't understand." The first time he said don't come close to me when my friends are around, we were at Kellen's beach house in Malibu. It was a party. Loud music. Half-naked models draped over leather couches. Bottles everywhere. I walked in carrying a gift. Kellen's birthday cake I'd picked up because Weston forgot. Weston saw me. His face went white. Then red. He grabbed my arm and pulled me into the hallway. "What are you doing here?" "It's Kellen's birthday," I said, confused. "You invited me." "I didn't think you'd actually come." I stared at him. "What?" He exhaled. Looked back toward the living room where Dax and Jet were howling at something on someone's phone. "Look, Briar. Just, don't make it weird, okay? Don't come close to me when my friends are around. It's not a good look." Not a good look. Like I was a stain. A flaw. Something to hide. I wanted to scream. To throw the cake in his face. To leave. But I didn't. I handed him the cake. I smiled. And I stayed. Question for you. Have you ever stayed somewhere you knew you shouldn't, just because leaving felt harder than dying inside? Drop a comment. I read every single one. I started watching after that. Not spying. Not snooping. Just watching. I'd sit on the couch while they gamed. Silent. Invisible. I'd pour drinks at parties where nobody said thank you. I'd stand in doorways while Weston laughed at jokes I didn't hear. And I started seeing things. The tremor in his hands when he wasn't holding a drink. The way his jaw clenched when Dax handed him a little baggie under the table. The texts that made him go pale. The phone calls he took outside. He was unraveling. And his friends were pulling the threads. One night, I found him in the bathroom at 3 a.m. He was sitting on the floor, back against the tub, staring at nothing. Wes. He didn't look up. I can't stop, he whispered. Can't stop what? Any of it. I knelt beside him. Took his hand. It was cold. Shaking. Then let me help you. He laughed. A bitter, broken sound. You can't help me, Briar. Nobody can. He pulled his hand away. And walked out. That's when I realized, he didn't want to be saved. He wanted to burn. And I was the only one watching. Dax started coming by the house more often. At first, it was casual. Business meetings. Strategy talks. But then it became daily. And then it became something else. He'd look at me. Not the way Weston used to. Not with love. With curiosity. Like I was a puzzle he wanted to solve. You're too good for him, you know, Dax said one afternoon while Weston was passed out upstairs. I was washing dishes. I didn't respond. I'm serious, Briar. You're smart. You're beautiful. You could do better. I turned off the water. Faced him. He's my husband. Dax smiled. Cold. Sharp. For now. Things escalated fast after that. Weston started missing work. Then stopped going entirely. He sold 2 properties at a loss just to cover his debts. I tried talking to him. Begging him. Wes, please. Look at me. You're killing yourself. So let me. I won't. Then stop watching. But I couldn't. Because somewhere deep down, I still believed. I still hoped. I still loved him. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. Weston hosted a party at our house. Unannounced. Uninvited guests flooded in like locusts. I came home from grocery shopping to chaos. Music blaring. People I'd never seen ransacking our kitchen. Someone puking in the hallway. I found Weston in the living room. He was on the couch. Eyes half closed. A girl I didn't know sitting on his lap. She was kissing his neck. He wasn't stopping her. Dax saw me first. He grinned. Oh, look. The wife. Everyone went quiet. Weston finally opened his eyes. Saw me. And said nothing. The girl giggled. Is this her? Kellen laughed. Yeah, that's her. Jet raised his glass. To Briar. The invisible woman. They all drank. Weston didn't move. I stood there. Frozen. Then I turned. And I walked upstairs. I locked the bedroom door. And I cried until I couldn't breathe. You know what the worst part was? He didn't come after me. Not that night. Not the next morning. Not ever. I stopped crying after 3 days. Not because the pain went away. But because I ran out of tears. Weston never apologized. Never explained. Never even acknowledged it happened. He just kept going. Kept partying. Kept destroying himself. And I kept watching. But something inside me shifted. I wasn't the same Briar anymore. The girl who believed in love. In vows. In second chances. She died on that couch. What was left? Someone colder. Sharper. Someone who wanted answers. I started digging. Not through his phone, he changed the passcode. Not through his computer, he kept it locked. But through the trash. Through receipts. Through bank statements he left crumpled on his desk. And I found things. Terrible things. Weston owed Dax $200,000. He'd borrowed it 6 months ago. For an investment, the contract said. But there was no investment. Just a signature. And a clause. Failure to repay within 12 months results in transfer of asset ownership to creditor. Our house. Dax was going to take our house. I confronted Weston that night. He was in the garage, working on his car. Or pretending to. You're losing the house. He didn't look up. I know. You know. Yeah, Briar. I know. Then why didn't you tell me? He finally turned. His eyes were hollow. Empty. Because it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Wes, this is our home. No, he said quietly. It's a house. And houses don't mean anything when you're already dead inside. I wanted to hit him. I wanted to scream. Instead, I asked the question I should have asked months ago. What did they do to you? He froze. What did Dax, Kellen, and Jet do to you, Weston? His hands started shaking. Nothing. Don't lie to me. I'm not. Then why are you so scared of them? He broke. Not dramatically. Not loudly. Just crumbled. He sat down on the concrete floor and put his head in his hands. They know things, Briar. What things? Things I did. Before I met you. My heart stopped. What kind of things? He told me everything. Before he was a real estate mogul, Weston was a kid from Riverside with nothing. He worked construction. Scraped by. Dreamed big. Then he met Dax. Dax had money. Connections. Opportunities. But Dax didn't give anything for free. He wanted Weston to help him move money. Dirty money. Laundered through fake property sales. Weston said yes. He didn't ask questions. Didn't think about consequences. He just wanted out of poverty. And it worked. For a while. Until Dax got caught. Not by the cops. By someone worse. A man named Vince Amani. A real player. Someone you didn't cross. Dax owed Vince $3 million. And Dax blamed Weston. Said Weston messed up a deal. Lost the money. It wasn't true. But Vince didn't care about truth. He cared about payment. So Dax made Weston a deal. Work for me. Do what I say. And I'll keep Vince off your back. Weston agreed. And he'd been trapped ever since. I stared at him. So all of this, the drugs, the parties, the girl on your lap, it's because you're scared. I'm not scared, Briar. I'm owned. Have you ever realized the person you loved was never really free? That their whole life was a leash held by someone else? Comment Bilot? I want to hear your story. I should have left. I should have packed my bags, called a lawyer, and walked away. But I didn't. Because I finally understood. Weston wasn't destroying himself. He was being destroyed. And I was the only one who saw it. I went to see Dax. Alone. He lived in a penthouse in downtown LA. All glass and steel. Cold. Lifeless. Like him. Briar, he said when he opened the door. What a surprise. We need to talk. He smiled. Come in. I didn't sit. Didn't accept his offer of wine. I just stood there and said it. I know what you're doing to him. Dax raised an eyebrow. Do you? You're blackmailing him. You're keeping him under your thumb because of something that happened years ago. Blackmail is such an ugly word. Then what do you call it? Insurance. He walked to the window. Looked out over the city. Your husband made choices, Briar. Bad ones. I'm just making sure he pays for them. By taking everything from him. By taking what he owes. He doesn't owe you anything. Dax turned. His smile was gone. He owes me his life. I stepped closer. What do you want? What do I want? He laughed. I want him to remember who pulled him out of the gutter. I want him to remember that without me, he's nothing. You're a monster. No, Briar. I'm a businessman. And your husband. He's a product. I felt something crack inside me. Not heartbreak. Rage. Let him go. Or what? Or I'll make sure everyone knows what you really are. He stepped closer. Close enough that I could smell his cologne. You think anyone cares? You think anyone will believe you? I have proof. That stopped him. What proof? Bank statements. Contracts. Text messages. Everything. I was bluffing. I had some documents. But not enough. Dax studied me. Then he smiled again. You're lying. Try me. For a long moment, we just stood there. Then Dax did something I didn't expect. He laughed. You know what? I like you, Briar. You've got guts. I don't want your approval. I want you to leave him alone. Can't do that. Why not? Because he's mine. And I don't let go of what's mine. I left that night with nothing. No deal. No hope. Just the cold, hard truth. Weston was never getting out. Not unless I did something drastic. I went home. Weston was passed out on the couch. Again. I stood over him. Watched his chest rise and fall. And I made a decision. The next morning, I called a lawyer. Not for a divorce. For something else. I was going to war. I spent the next 2 weeks building a case. I contacted old colleagues. Dug through public records. Found people Dax had burned before. And I found something. A paper trail. Small. Hidden. But real. Dax had been embezzling from his own clients. Funneling money into offshore accounts. And I had proof. I didn't tell Weston. I didn't tell anyone. I just waited. The meeting happened on a Friday. Dax, Kellen, Jet, and Weston at a private club in Beverly Hills. I walked in unannounced. They all turned. Briar. Weston looked confused. What are you doing here? I didn't answer him. I looked at Dax. I'm done watching. I dropped a folder on the table. Inside were copies of everything I'd found. Dax's face went white. What is this? Your confession. He opened it. Flipped through. Kellen and Jet leaned in. This is fake, Dax said. But his voice shook. It's not. And I've already sent copies to the FBI. And the IRS. And your clients. Dax stood. You're bluffing. I'm not. You have no idea what you've done. I know exactly what I've done. He lunged. But Weston caught him. Don't touch her. It was the first time in months Weston had defended me. Dax shoved him off. You're both dead. No, I said calmly. You are. I walked out. Weston followed. Outside, he grabbed my arm. Briar, what the hell did you just do? I freed you. You don't understand. He'll come after us. Let him try. For the first time in a year, Weston looked at me. Really looked. Why? Because I couldn't watch you die anymore. 3 weeks later, Dax was arrested. Kellen and Jet flipped on him to save themselves. Weston's debt was erased. Our house was safe. But Weston and we didn't get a happy ending. He got sober. Started therapy. Tried to rebuild. But the man I married never came back. He was someone new. Someone quieter. Someone haunted. And I was someone new too. We separated 6 months later. Not with anger. Not with tears. Just with understanding. Some love isn't meant to survive. The last time I saw Weston, he thanked me. He said, "You saved my life." I said, "I know." And then I walked away. END. So here's my question for you. Was it worth it? Should Briar have stayed and fought? Or should she have left the moment it got hard? Drop your answer below. Hit like if this story wrecked you. And subscribe because I've got more stories that'll make you feel everything. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.